Well, this is why you guys are here today. Andrea is on the line. If I look at my cell phone here, as mentioned, I think she's still, yeah, she's listening to me probably through the phone and through GoToWebinar. So, as an introduction, my name is Scott Gallagher. I've been longtime friends of Dan Thies and Leslie and Andrea. And inside their portal, there's some local content that's in there. And a couple of weeks ago, with the introduction of Google Plus Local, Dan calls me up and says, Scott, what's going on? I said, well, what's going on is there's a lot of chaos going on in the industry right now. There's a lot of confusion. Items like, what's the difference between a Google Plus local page and a local Google Plus page? Well, there's the right hand is not speaking to the left hand at Google, it seems to be. That's definitely a branding issue and a branding challenge that's created some confusion. So Dan and I had a nice long conversation, and he had asked me to do a little bit of a presentation here. Now, this presentation, it's not formal. I'm going to jump to some screenshots. I'm going to go and look at a couple of different profiles. We've gone out to the community and asked, what are your challenges? What are you facing? So we're going to take a look at that. But before I get into any of that, some of you may know who I am. Some of you may not know who I am. And just as a quick overview, um, my first passion is I'm a dad. I've got a little boy, and I just love to be able to spend time with him. We're going camping this weekend. It's just going to be a great time. I'm also an author, and I love to write. That's probably one of my greatest passions. Entrepreneur, of course, and adrenalinist. I love snowboarding and a lot of different activities. I did spend a lot of money on a university degree about 10 years ago, had a specialty in marketing, but in 2005, I founded my first local internet marketing agency. That was CCS. 2009, NAPAREX was founded. That's an abbreviation for National Parcel Express. You can see in 2010, the company did 51,000 packages. 2011, it did 81,000. 100% of that business comes from SEO. And as a matter of fact, my first and my mentor is Dan Thies. So everything I learned about internet marketing and search engine optimization on the organic side comes from Dan, and that's how NAPAREX was built. So big thank you, dude. Same time, founded 2009 local marketing source, took my skill sets and put it together into a local front, and essentially took a lot of the education from Mr. Thies and Mr. Rohde and applied it to a local front. And so one thing that you're going to learn if you want to capitalize in the local world is essentially the same song that's being sung at SEO Brain Trust. And that's, at the end of the day, it comes down to marketing. These businesses are dealing with customers. They're dealing with real people. When we start to look at what all these search engines are doing, that's essentially with what they're looking at. You know, I did a presentation yesterday. David Mim, he's a big guy in the local industry, and every year he puts out this local search ranking factors. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of different factors, different signals that the search engines look at, and we can look at certain things like the propensity or the velocity of, say, reviews and check-ins, and the quantity and the quality of reviews, and the authority of a citation. All this stuff is the same stuff that we hear about in the organic side. In the local side, you can pull out a marketing book, blow the dust off of it, and every single factor that we look at from a technical aspect, I can give an explanation from a marketing aspect why you want to do that and why it's important. So at the end of the day, it comes down to marketing. I'm also, as I mentioned, an author, and I also work with some other organizations out there. And so today, getting into the meat of all of this and what we're going to be looking at and what we're going to be learning is, what is Google Plus Local? How is this different than Google Places? And next, we're going to get into some questions. I had thrown the bone out there, and I'm going to give you a list. I don't know. I think there's 12 questions in there that are going to be answered today. We're going to go and play on a couple of different profiles and mess around a little bit. And why is this so confusing? What is Google doing? Is this really rolled out? Is this what we see it's going to be? So what are businesses to do today? And what are local businesses going to do in 30 days? How do we set ourselves up? How do we manage that page? This is not going to be a presentation on the best practices and how to rank, but this is going to talk a little bit about management. And then, of course, getting everything set up for all those changes that are coming along. So first is really, what is Google Plus Local? And how is it different than local Google Plus pages? Take a look at what's on your screen right now. Local Google Plus page versus Google Plus local page. It's ridiculous. Now, the interesting thing is, well, here's a search that I've got. We're going to go and we're going to take a look at the search. So we're doing a search now for, okay, everything's switched up on my screen here. Go to webinar. I have everything on both screens now. Okay. Well, we'll manage with that. So I'm assuming that you guys are looking at what I am looking at. So we did a search here for set up a Google Plus local page. These are the new pages. The Google Plus is the social network, and it's a local page on it. And then we get confusion with, we get a Google listing, number 2, create a local Google Plus page. Well, here's the challenge. Before Google Plus local, before the Places announcement was announced 2 weeks ago, you can go to Google Plus and you can set up a business page. On that business page, you set the category as local. When you set the category as local, you now had a local Google Plus page. Well, now you can actually go and create a destination page that is for a local business. Within the last day and a half, this content has changed, and yet they are still messing with the branding. Now, when we go and take a look at let's go and take a look at a Google Plus local page. And that would be, got all my browsers open up here. Which one am I going to? Okay. So here's a local page. And what we're going to do is actually, I'm going to go back over here. Go right to Google. Go to my Google Plus account. And you can see that there's a new tab here called Local. You may have to click on More. Sometimes when you go on More, you're going to see the pages. So we're going to be working with Local and this pages. Now when we go to Local here, for an example, we've got the ability to do certain searches. I'm going to do a search. My zip code and actually I did these searches already over here. So I did a search for dentist, and this is on Google Plus, and I put the zip code 60156. That happens to be Lake in the Hills, Illinois. That's where I live. You've got Algonquin Orthodontics and Progressive, number 1 and 2. Now, when I go and do a search on Google for same thing, dentist, and 60156, I get 2 organic listings. One of them is tied to a local listing, so it's a blended result. And we look at these results here, and Algonquin Orthodontics is way down, and D, and Progressive is number 2. Well, why is Google Plus giving different results than Google? Well, when we go to Google and we type in dentist near 60156, we're getting identical results. And so it appears that Google Plus search algorithm is using the modifier near when doing a search for a core term of dentist and a geomod of 60156. Oh, so then.
Hey Scott, I made it, I think.
Hey, Andrea, how are you? Nice to hear your voice.
I
I
love
guess,
/ hate GoToWebinar. Sorry about that, guys, but thought you were doing just great.
yeah, I heard the beep just on my phone there that it went off, but that's good. So stop me at any time, Andrea, if you need to say anything, or you know how we work.
Okay,
We like to
Scott.
talk back and forth.
Kate, I'm looking at the questions, and everybody's saying that we're still on the first page. So we're looking at the page that says local Google plus pages. What happened to Google Places? Services for verified Google plus page owner. Is that where you are too?
No, that's
This webinar today is changed for some reason. I'm really sorry about that.
where is my go-to
Scott,
webinar?
here's an easy fix. Let me make myself the organizer, and then or the presenter, and I'll just give it back to you. It's kind of a little, I call them virtual kicks, because I would like to kick GoToWebinar a lot. Okay, so I'm going to make myself the presenter for a second, and then I'll just give it right back to you. Because I'm so sorry about the technical problems today. Okay, try again, Scott. Okay, now we've got your PowerPoint in the
Here, you
front,
see my PowerPoint?
and Dennis in the back.
Okay. Let me go back over that then. And I'm going to open up this questions box. Okay. All right, guys. What we're looking at here for our searches is when we're inside Google Plus. I'm going to go right back out here. And so here in Google Plus, being the social network, the new tab that we were looking at is this local button right here. When we click on more, you're going to get to see other things, but we're going to be focusing on the Pages tab and the Local tab. And you can see this account here has got 3 different pages that it's managing. This is not the account that, here's my account right now. So we're at home. This is my personal Google Plus account. And you go and click on local. Now we don't manage everything through here. I've set it up, just set up a particular page to be able to show you guys. But when we do a search for dentist with an area code of 60156, that's our geomod, that's our core term. And we go back to Google, organic, we do a search for dentist. This is
Scott,
where
your
we're
little boy
getting.
is so darling, by the way.
Pardon me? Oh, Ashton.
Your son is so
Yeah.
cute, yeah.
Oh, we had so much fun. We're going camping this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. Good weather, and he loves it. And so what I'm showing you here, guys, is in Google Plus, we do a search, and we've got this result and progressive number 2. Here, you've got a different blended result, and just the organic results, you've got Algonquin orthodontics down here and progressive at number 2. Completely different results for a very similar term. Now, interestingly, as soon as you put the modifier near in, and you do a search, you notice you've got in the organic, orthodontics, and then progressive. Back here, orthodontics and progressive. So that's a key term that once we've recognized that, the algorithm within Google Plus is pulling and utilizing and essentially creating a search within the Google network itself, adding the modifier near the geomod and the core term. It's pulling the results from formerly what we called Google Places. Now, I'm going to go over some changes with Google Places, where we are today and where things are going to go. What we're talking about here, and on that very first slide that you guys never got a chance to be able to see, because I went through all of this stuff already. Here's my nice shot. And I was telling you who I was. Okay, today, this is what we were going to cover today. Just want to get those bullet points up.
Yeah, I think we got that one. We got to that one.
And this is where I was. Now, Google Plus local pages are the new pages that formerly were Places pages. And Places pages, we had Places account. Places pages were not a specific static page. They were a dynamically created search result. And so Google is a data aggregator, and they pull data from a whole variety of sources, and they've also got their own database. And then on the fly, a place page would be created. That's why it was always argued whether we should or should not fire links to a Places page, because it was a search result. It wasn't a tangible page. Well, Places pages are now tangible pages. So that's a very significant difference, as we understand Google's algorithm and how things are read and utilized. That's a big factor in this change. This is a real home on the internet, on Google, for businesses. In the past, we didn't really have that kind of home. It didn't belong to Google. Now, I was showing here searching in Google and searching in Google Plus yields slightly different results. Where Google results, there's still a data aggregator. Now, having said that, in terms of ranking, there's no difference that we found in the ranking algorithm, just a slight little differences of how the information is transferred. For example, putting that little modifier near into it. So strategies, as we talk about the changes, we can completely dissipate, and this change is not going to change a business's strategy on how to market themselves for local search engine optimization. All those strategies continue to remain the same. What is different is how businesses engage, and we're going to learn that in some of these tools that Google is really pulling together. This is a massive deal. We haven't even begun to see the changes yet of how Google Plus local is going to affect the local ecosystem. Some of the subtle changes that we are seeing on the surface, and for example, the changes that we're seeing in mainstream media, are items in terms of Zagat reviews. And it was a little under a year ago Google bought Zagat, a Chicago-based firm, and they have both editor reviews and user reviews, and they're very authentic reviews. It's a very good review system. Now, this is one of the few products that Google has ever bought and maintained the incumbent brand. That's a really unique business move on Google's part. It's likely because it's a branding issue, and Google wants to remain separated from Zagat in order to maintain the integrity of Zagat reviews. It's almost like it's a closed economy when Google is working within this network. They're able to control the environment, and so they're displaying Zagat reviews first, then Google reviews second, and then third-party reviews third. Well, third-party reviews are going to be well below the fold when you're looking at a particular business page. Zagat reviews are above the fold. So reviews are the greatest influencer of conversion for a searcher to decide whether or not they want to deal with business. So this Zagat reviews is actually, albeit it appeared to be a good thing, it's a very challenging thing for businesses because that's where they have to get their reviews left, is Zagat. And that's the place to get reviews left, is Zagat. Whether it's Google or Zagat, that's fine. But even when we look at David Mims, search ranking factors, diversity of reviews on third-party sites is a relatively high factor in the ranking algorithm. So we're going to go and look at some other stuff in a moment here. I want to cover some questions that are being asked. We've already answered this question here, the difference between local Google Plus pages versus Google Plus local pages. Now, the next question is, you know, how do we take the current listing and integrate it into a Google Plus local listing? Well, this is going to happen naturally in time with Google. Google is changing business places listings into Google Plus local listings. Now, as an early adopter of that, you can speed that up, and that link is do a search on Google for Google Plus upgrade request. And what you're going to get is this page right here. You want to ensure that you're using the email address. Hopefully your places page has got your email address with your domain on it. You provide this information, and this will expedite Google into integrating your places page with your Google Plus local page. Here is an example from Mike Blumenthal that has got a fully integrated page. And you've got little push pin information that's coming out. And you can see here, I could actually go and edit information. I'm not managing this page, but as a user, we've got the ability to make global edits. You've got your reviews. This review system is coming from Zagat. That's a Zagat review. You can tell just based off of the numbers. In this case here, other things about reviews, Mike Blumenthal has agreed to display his name for this particular review. The owner has the ability to respond. And down here you can see this Google user is a registered user, but not chosen to display their name. That's also a new feature with the social side for reviewers. Okay, we're going. You know, this is a tough question. Will there be a significant advantage to Google local over places? If so, what are they specifically? Well, it's the social layer. Now, underneath that social umbrella, we can get very, very detailed into all the different aspects. I'm going to be talking about some of this stuff in a few moments. And what's really important with a lot of these changes and what's really happening here. You know, items like an integrated customer relationship management tool. A new feature in the last 48 hours is for a places page to follow their customers. It's really cool stuff. So that social layer, the communication and integration, essentially what Google is getting here is being a communication tool for a business with its customers. It sounds simplistic, but as you start to peel the layers back on that onion, it's really, really, really profound. I mean, it's a multi-trillion-dollar endeavor here that's being conducted over time. It's just ridiculous. Just in the United States, 23 million businesses that could capitalize. It's crazy. All right. Now, promotion. This was something that was asked. You know, how do we promote a Google local listing? Do the fundamentals remain the same, like citations, reviews, completing the listing, or is there a new social element that can increase exposure? this is something that I can talk about for a long time. And what are these aspects of the social elements that can increase exposure? Well, it's interesting because what is Google Plus? A lot of people say it's a competitor of Facebook. Is it really? Does Google really want to be in the business of allowing people to communicate more effectively? Or is Google in the business of organizing the world of its information? Well, a
That's an
little over a
interesting
year
way to,
ago,
yeah, that's an interesting way to put that, Scott.
it, it's questions that have got to be asked. And a little over a year ago, when Larry took over the helm over at Google, one of his biggest initiatives was this social layer within Google. And why was that so important to him? Why did they take a company that had a perfect formula to it, the fastest growing company in history, the largest tech company at one point in time, the richest billionaires on the planet under the age of 40? Why would these guys completely roll the die on all of that with their company and do a 180-degree turn from a search company to a social company? And at the end of the day, it's their algorithm. It's where Google started, and that's why it's so important to Larry and Sergey, that this algorithm was based off of the internet with webmasters. And now, between the year of 1992 and 2002, that was 10 years, there's more content created on the internet on June 13th, 2012, than there was in the first 10 years of the internet. There's more content created today on the internet than there was the first 10 years. And so during those first 10 years, the internet was created with webmasters. It was a controlled communistic environment. And they were able to look at that and try to create a democracy off of it based off of natural linking schemes. Well, the social layer is the same thing. It's still natural linking schemes, but instead of using webmasters to create the environment, they're using people, everybody. And they're looking at just ridiculously more amounts of content. So it's the same principles that where they built their algorithm in 1996 and what they were looking at. You got to look at the full circle. Larry devised the algorithm based off of how his father creates research papers, based off of a real environment in the real world. Then he goes and digitizes it and makes a computer program out of it. And so now with this social layer that's being brought into this, we take a look at local businesses. Local businesses all have one thing in common. They all have buyers. And those buyers buy a product or a service. And we know people don't really buy products or services, they buy a state. That's the anticipated feeling they get from that product or service. So there's a lot of commonalities among a business that's out there and how a business grows. You offer good service, you offer a good product, you offer good customer service, you get people talking about you, your business grows. It's as simple as that. Well, that's how businesses are going to grow on the internet. And that's what this social layer ultimately is really adding to that. Is Google is forcing businesses to be better businesses. There's, can you still promote offers such as coupons? Sure thing. We're going to take a look at that. I wanted to look at these questions and then go and play a little bit in Google as we talk. So I don't necessarily want to get all of these questions answered just on the fly here as you guys are watching them. Would interaction with our followers push up our rankings? You got to look at it like this, that, again, close your eyes, put yourself in a dark room, think about how businesses operated in the old school world. And all of a sudden, take a business that has, a local jewelers, and they have a particular promotion coming up. They go and make flyers. They distribute those flyers all over the place. They contact their Chamber of Commerce. They put an ad on the radio station. So all of a sudden, they're using these social channels, right? Radio is a social channel, right? Word of mouth, networking. These are all different social channels to get that, quote unquote, get that word out there. They're creating a little buzz in a local social network, right? This is all before the internet, right? and they get that exposure, and then there's buzz going on, and there's talk, and then at the end of the day, that when somebody's looking for a jeweler and they've heard different people talking about it, and they need a jeweler, they go inside their head, and what do? They do a search, and inside their head, they go through their search of their database, and they think, what am I going to do? And then they go and they find their supplier for that. Or the old school way was to go and do a search in a phone book. Well, we don't always use the phone book. Sometimes when we were looking for a local business in the old school days, we would do a search in a social network. Well, that was in our head. And so we're still replicating that. You've still got the phone book, the old school phone book. Well, that's Google, doing a search in Google itself. Then you've got the social side of it. And that's this social layer that's being added. So when these businesses would interact, with people in the community, would it push their rankings up in these fictitious searches people would do in their head? Well, yeah, it would. So the answer to this question is the same thing. Yeah, it does. Now, we can get very technical at it and determine, okay, how does this work? What are the influence? You've got items like velocity of check-ins and reviews. You've got diversity of check-ins and reviews, where they're located. You've got authority of reviews. If I go and create an account on Yelp today and leave one bad review and never use that account, versus me going and creating an account on Yelp 5 years ago and leave a review every 2 or 3 months, scenario number 2 is going to have a lot more of authority of a review. But in the big picture, yeah, interaction, of course, will ultimately do that. And those are social signals within the search engine. Would Google search bot crawl through the Google Plus local pages? If so, should we be targeting keywords in our post on the page? This is a strange question. I don't know if the Google search bot needs to really crawl Google Plus pages, because that information is within the Google database to begin with. They're bringing databases together. But should you be targeting keywords in your posts on the page? Well, throw this technical stuff down for a second and think of this from a marketing perspective. You've got an audience that's out there. Some of your audience is going to be customers, and some of your audience is going to be prospects. Keywords, where do keywords come from? You've got 2 types of local keywords. You've got local location-based keywords, and you've got theme-related keywords. So a dentist, a theme for a dentist is dentist or dental or dentistry. Teeth whitening. These are theme-related keywords. You've got location, like Chicago. So here I am on a social network. Should I be posting theme-related content on my social network? In other words, should I be posting, if I'm a dentist, should I be posting stuff about teeth whitening? Oh, of course you should be. Well, that's what this question is. Start thinking about marketing. Yeah? Maybe you can answer this one yourself. Is it true that the more number of genuine followers on the page would get better rankings? Well, what's a genuine follower? Somebody that might be a prospect. How do they know that you're a prospect? Maybe because they know based off of where you're at. A genuine follower, they can see patterns within this. It's possible. The more genuine followers you get, the better rankings you're going to possibly get. But again, that's not a means to be able to be following. Should be reviews. Reviews essentially are followers, aren't they? Just followers that have spoken up. Categories. This is something I'm going to touch on. This is a big challenge right now that's going on. What are some of the new features that I can use to help my business clients? We're going to go and take a look at that. That's actually a really one I'd mentioned, just released in the last 48 hours. What's the best way to market these changes to my clients? Well, you're going to learn in a few minutes that Google's got a lot coming. Very difficult to really market anything at this point in time, any of the particular changes. What you can do is describe some of the benefits. I've discussed the social layer and the benefits of that social layer. In other words, making businesses better businesses. And that's a way for positioning to your clients. How to tie individual Google Plus profile to their business so it shows up in the SERPs. I'm going to go step by step through that. Why are there more local results showing up now that it's been implemented? How does that happen when so many of the Places pages were not claimed? Well, a Places page does not need to be claimed to have authority and show up. There's Google is always toying with the local results. We are seeing so many changes in the last year. You can take the same core terms and add different geo modifiers to them. One of my favorite analogies I'm going to show you right now. The Chicago Courier Service, and we get a set of results. So you've got one blended result, number 2. Okay. There's NAPREX, that's our business. And then you've got just organic results. Okay, so you've got one blended local result for Chicago Courier Service. Miami. I better log. Organic result, organic result, organic, and then a bunch of local results. Okay, in the 7-pack. Philadelphia. Number 1, 3-pack. Not bad. 3 different cities, 3 different results. New York. 3-pack. You see how Google is serving different SERPs for basically the same search with different geomods? I mean, even that in itself is indicating that they don't all have it down yet in terms of what they should be displaying. Should it be organic? Should it be local? Should it be blended? We look at blended results. We're seeing a whole variety of different things. Last week we were seeing the Zagat reviews come in here. But Google reviews on this side here now, not a lot of Google reviews are coming in. It's changing very, very, very quickly, and Google's doing a ton of testing. So, having said that, with the recent social layer, Google is doing a better job at identifying whether that's a local business or not. Local is also very misunderstood because a company that provides national services within a country is still considered a local business in Google's eyes.
Really, Scott? I didn't know that.
Yes, it is. You can think of a company like Target. They have 7,700, or Walgreens, 7,783 locations. But that's 7,783 local locations. And Walgreens, for that matter, is still considered a local business.
Okay, all right, that makes sense then.
Now, on the front that most of our audience here is speaking to, and the clients that we go after, don't have that many locations. My biggest client has 50 locations. But other than that, I think my next biggest client after that is 8 locations. And then below that, our average is 1 or 2. The dentist will just have 1 or 2 locations. How can we push people to leave reviews using their mobile phones? Well, I threw this question in because I wanted to talk about just real quickly the review acquisition strategy. Reviews, folks, are very important, whether it's Google Plus or Google Places. We give our clients a review acquisition strategy, whether it's our taxi service company in Chicago that hands out business cards with a QR code on it so all their drunk people can go ahead and leave reviews, to a cleaning service that hands out a postcard that gives instructions to leave a review after they've done a cleaning job. You got to get creative from a marketing perspective. How can your business do a better job at listening with an open ear and encouraging and making it easier for people to leave reviews. Leaving reviews with mobile phones, QR codes is a really good tool for that. Okay, what am I doing on time here? All right.
What are we looking at here, Scott?
Okay, so I'm going to go into my personal account right now. View my account. I'm going to go and click on products down here. These are all the products that my account's been signed up to. I'll click on Google Places. You can still see that Google is still branding within personal accounts as Google Places. When you click on Google Places, and I click the Get Started Now button, this is how I get into the old Google Places. It's really bizarre and confusing. Now, this is not an active account. This is just play with stuff like that. You can see 3 businesses that are in my personal. I'm going to go into my business account in a moment here. But that's how you get into that. Now, when you're managing Google Places, you can go in and edit your particular profiles like you always would, and this is how you continue to manage your listing within Places that ultimately is going to be merged with a Google Plus local page. I'm going to show you a Google Plus local page in a moment. Now, we're back into a Places listing here. This is a Places listing for One Marketing. Pretty standard. We've all seen these before. And this is the Google Plus local page for One Marketing. These 2 pages exist separately. Well, in theory, they're pages. They're really search results. But these 2 exist on the internet today separately. Google has not brought these 2 together. We could fill out the form, ask them to bring them together. I showed you guys, or did I show you that form? If I didn't, we will go to it. Was this upgrade request? You go to Google, you do a search for Google Plus upgrade request. You'll find this form right here. You fill it out, and it will allow you to merge your 2 listings together. Now, once you're inside of Google Plus and you've created a Google Plus local page, there's not really a lot of settings. There's a lot of questions that people are having about who can manage this page. So you'll go ahead, you can go into your own account, you can go into your agency account, you can go into your client's account, create the page, and then you set managers and who's got the ability to manage that page. At any point in time, you can then remove a manager. For particular settings on that page, there's not a lot of differences between a page and a profile. There's subtle differences like pages can't go and leave +1s, items like that. But in here you can see that there's certain settings for that particular page in terms of notification, who can add me in circles and things like that. Now, when I go back to home, I'm still operating within as the page, as the One Marketing page, not my individual account. And they've got a new tab here called Customers. And what's neat, in this account here, we've added one individual as a customer, is you're able to follow your customers on a particular stream. Google's also allowing you to follow VIPs or team members. And then, of course, just follow whoever. So in other words, that the concept of circles is really playing into a business here. You can easily follow customers and see what they're having to say and interact with them on a regular basis. Very good. Here on profile, I can click on the profile and I can edit the profile, and you can see the description allows for anchor texts. Your description should follow the best practices that you would find in Google Places. You can go and edit all of this information individually. And so this appears as to what the interface is going to look like for Google Places when they do ultimately roll it into one complete solution. Okay. How are we doing for questions? Becky's asking something about reviews. Becky, your question, and this is a good one about reviews, and I want to bring this up right now. She says many of my clients are therapists, and they cannot legally ask their clients for reviews. Ethics violation. Any ideas on that? Yeah, I do have that. It's also a violation of the terms and conditions of Yelp to ask for reviews for any business. So you're in no different boat than every other business that exists out there today, legally or not. It doesn't matter. Now, when a therapist provides services and the patient says, "Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that." That is a review that is unsolicited and already provided. Thank you for that. I appreciate what you've done. You did a good job. Oh, thanks, Scott, for saying a good job about me as a therapist. Hey, that's a good review that you left me. Hey, would you mind digitizing that and leaving it on Google? Well, you're not asking for a review anymore. You've already been given the review. You're not soliciting a review. You're not asking for a review. What you are asking is you're asking to digitize a review that was already provided. So there's a clear difference between that. That is not illegal. That is not a violation of ethics because the review was already provided. That should be built into your review acquisition strategy. Oh, not from start. What am I doing here? How can we push people? Okay. Now that we've taken a look at some of this already, I think I've played with it enough. I can go in. I could probably show more stuff, huh? As we go through, we were looking at editing, pages, circle, Okay. Yeah, I will jump back actually. Um, changing the dashboard. Let's put this slide up here. We have seen over the last few weeks Google disassembling the dashboard. We've seen some changes of AdWords Express, Google Boost. Google has been revamping their coupons offer with some of their recent purchases and the changes from Places, Google Places to Google Plus Local. That business dashboard that you see is changing significantly what businesses are able to do. With the recent purchases of CRM software, review software, a loyalty software, brain fart right there, loyalty software, it's just the ability for businesses to be able to interact with their customers is changing significantly. That dashboard, we are starting to see exactly how that's coming to fruition. Now, I'll get to that in a second, my bullet points. I'm getting excited here. They were pulling out AdWords and Express, and Google really had some branding challenges with that as well. Ultimately, what they're trying to do is build the same business that they built off of AdWords, off of the e-commerce world and marketplace, and apply it to local businesses. It's too confusing today for local business owners to be able to increase this spend and decrease that spend and have more money spent on particular keywords and whatnot. Revamping coupons, Google change. Zagat reviews, their purchase of Zagat reviews, a company called Punch. This is a loyalty program as well. Loyalty programs have been around for eons, and they work very, very well. Google has purchased a loyalty program, and there's talk provided by, when was it? Late last week, less than 7 days ago, the Wall Street Journal confirmed that Google will be rolling out these features by the middle of July. In addition to the loyalty program and TalkBin being CRM, this is one of my biggest challenges. Like, one big no-no for Google Places was to add tracking phone numbers. Now, PPC experts tell you all over the place, put in tracking phone numbers all over. Well, that really hurts your local side of it. That's also a violation of the terms and conditions of Google. So as an organic guy, we never recommend that. We never recommend tracking numbers for that reason. Well, it really negatively affects your rankings because you don't have a consistency of a NAP. From marketing perspectives and branding perspectives, that's a big no-no. All the marketing people that know nothing about internet marketing will tell you that. It's a big no. But nonetheless, with CRM software, customer relationship management software, one of the biggest challenges for business-to-business providers utilizing internet marketing as a means to get new customers is understanding where their money goes to get that return on investment. So I'm providing services to a delivery company. Their sales cycle is 90 days. Their average sale is $500,000. I'm generating 3-4 leads a month. I'm throwing a scenario that's out there, just a blanket scenario. The point being is, with a sales cycle of 90 days, how the heck do you allocate search marketing expenditures and relate it to revenue coming in? Especially when they're clients that provide recurring revenue. It's darn near impossible. It really is. Well, how is that solved? It's not solved with tracking phone numbers, because all the PPC guys out there, well, they want their customers, right? Hey, Mr. Customer, yeah, we're generating business for you. Look at all the phone calls we're getting, because we got tracking phone calls. There you go. We're getting you phone calls. Oh, but Mr. PPC guy, I'm not getting any business from it. Well, we're making phone calls. We're getting phone calls for you. Well, they're not going that extra mile of being able to help track the leads. Are they really qualified leads or not? You don't know. You need CRM in there. Businesses need CRM software, and it's amazing how many businesses fail at that. You know how many students I have that have invested significant money into building their agency and they don't have customer relationship management software in place? It's phenomenal. Everybody on the phone right now should have CRM software in place. So important that Google buys a CRM tool that they're going to turn around and give for free to local businesses and have it completely integrated into their marketing efforts. Whew. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Now, managing your Google Plus local page. There's a few pieces of information. There's a woman by the name of Vanessa. She is the Google Plus local business rep. She just recently put a post on the frequently asked questions for business owners in the small business forum from Google. And as mentioned, and I've talked about, everything is still managed in Google Places for now. When somebody puts "for now" from Google, you know that that's changing, right? Well, it's likely going to be managed in Google Plus. Videos are turned off for now, and you can no longer upload videos or use the post-to-page feature. I think video is big, and I think video is big because of our propensity to influence human behavior. The words I say, I can influence your behavior by 7%. My tonality, I want to go to the store. I want to go to the store. I can influence your behavior by 35%. But my physiology, video, I got a factor of over 50% to influence human behavior. It's a marketing tool. Google knows this. So we're likely going to see some massive changes on the video front. Maybe integration of YouTube into the social layer. No talk on that. You're just hearing prediction. The Zagat scoring system. Oh yeah, go through that. Vanessa says Zagat. What's that?
Scott, before you go into that, can we look at a question real quick from Eric? He says, is there a full distinction between setting up a business profile attached to a personal profile, or can a business profile be set up independently from a personal profile?
I'm just reading it. Yeah, I'm reading it right now.
Okay.
No. Okay. Google accounts. You create a Google account. A Google account can have the Google Plus account added to it. So now you have a Google Plus account. Only Google Plus accounts can be created by individuals, not by entities, not by a business. Once you have an individual account as a person, you can then go and create Google Plus local pages for a business. So there's no such thing as business profiles. Now, in theory, you can go and create an account and call it your business profile and pretend that it's a person, but that's actually violating the T's and C's. Does that make sense, Eric?
All right, he'll let us know, I think. It does, he says. And then really quickly, while we've got it open, back to Becky's question, she's still struggling because of the privacy laws and stuff. And what she says is that they just cannot ask for reviews in any way, shape, or form, because then that's asking them to divulge that they see a therapist. Becky, I had a little idea, and I'm not a lawyer, so take this with a grain of salt, but I don't know if this would work or not, but if you said something about people who like services they frequent or offices they visit or something like that, will often talk about it on Google Plus or on Zagat or whatever, and just say something like that and give a link to it. So you're not telling them to do anything. You're just, you're just informing them that that's what people do. That's one little idea. I have no idea if you could do that or not, but just something to think about.
Well, there was also that, and as we discussed on one of our listings here, the reviewer can choose to not leave their name, and it will just say a Google reviewer. And that way they're not disclosing any personal information. You recall seeing that part, Becky? I can go back and look where that was. This darn Mac keeps doing some weird stuff on the screen. No, it wasn't here. See how they're choosing to show their name? These are all Google individuals that we can go and look at, Jamie. Or just a Google user. And by default, this is the default setting.
Hold on, Scott. We're still seeing your PowerPoint, I think. That's not just me, right, guys? Let's just double check here. Nope, PowerPoint.
You're seeing PowerPoint?
Why is this confusing, and what is Google up to is what we're looking at.
I'm sorry, Andrea, I didn't quite hear you.
We're looking at the PowerPoint that says, why is this confusing, and what is Google up to in the next 4 months? So we're not looking at your, it looks like your browser window you want us to see.
Well, how? I wonder how long you guys haven't, because everything's fine on my end here.
I think it's just been a pretty recent thing.
You seeing it now?
No, still looking at the PowerPoint. If you minimize that for a second, will that get us to the screen you want us to see?
Well, I've stopped showing my screen now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then go back to your screen. Okay, now we're looking at some reviews, it looks like.
Okay. And this individual here, these people have chosen to have their name shown. By default, it'll just say a Google user. And so the reviewer is completely protected. But yet Google is assigning authority based off of these reviews, based off of their account. Okay, back to PowerPoint. Don't be messing with your places data too much over the next 2 weeks, really until the dust settles. We've noticed, in the past, Google would be making changes, and those places pages that made internal changes at the time that Google was going through changes were thrown into a queue, and they were kicked out of the index for 6 weeks or so. And Google got backlogged. So we don't really recommend making any changes for the next couple of weeks on anything right now, except trying to submit to the upgrade form. I've got a shortened URL for you guys as well. You can take a look at that URL. That's goo.gl/POSJJ. Or you can do a Google search for it.
Scott, we've got about 10 minutes left, so I want to just make sure that we get to the most important things that you want to show us and make sure we cover questions that people are dying to know.
I'm sorry, Andrea?
We've got about 10 minutes, so I just wanted to make sure you knew that. So we've got to, I just want to make sure we've gotten to everybody's questions and all of the main points that you want to show us as well.
Yeah, I've actually hit all the points, all the changes. There's a couple of things that I can talk about if we don't have any more questions. I do want to go through a little bit of a just go over the step-by-step for the transition, and a couple of points for people on the line if we don't have questions or hands that are up. So I'll take a look at the question box.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Now, there don't seem to be any more at this point. But be sure, you guys, to go ahead right now and upgrade your Google account to a Google Plus personal account if you don't have a Google Plus that is opened up to everybody. Go ahead and create a Google Plus business page. Choose a local business, put in the phone number, and see what data Google's pulling up for that particular business. Once you've created that Google Plus page, go into your Places dashboard and try to view your Google Plus local listings through the dashboard, and make sure that it's connected within your Places dashboard. Again, don't be changing a lot of that data right now. And once it's connected in your dashboard, go ahead and submit that form, and that will alert Google to merge these listings and get ahead of the curve. At the same time, you may want to start experimenting a little bit as to what you can do on Google Plus for a business page, and you can learn about how those pages work. We looked at some of that stuff. Let me go back here just as a review. So a business, when you go to the business page, you've got your home tab. And on the home tab, you can start following customers, start communicating with customers. We're not a social media firm, so we don't do that for our customers, but it might be a good idea. We may end up creating a document that helps train our customers a little bit of what they should be doing. It gives you a good understanding of what's going on. And then get an understanding of the reviews as well, the reviewing system and Zagat. And recall that reviews, Zagat reviews are first, Google reviews are second, and third-party reviews are third. And then just start following people. Just go and start following different people in your industry and whatnot, and get to know it, and stand by, because like I said, in 4 weeks, according to the Wall Street Journal, Google is rolling out some massive changes. And even on that note, one of the things they are rolling out that I didn't talk about is home delivery for local businesses. It's going to be wild. So do we have any questions, folks? Let me see if we've got some hands that are up. If anybody wants to get on the line live, we can listen to you. We can answer your questions as they're typed in.
Let's see any questions yet. So, Scott, if you were to summarize these changes in a short paragraph, what would you tell people?
The changes are an enhancement of a social layer. It's allowing businesses not just a place on the internet, but a place on the internet to communicate and engage with their audience. That engagement are the social signals ultimately that Google is looking for to help provide better results in their core product search.
All right, that's fantastic. Okay, let's see. How do I set up a business account? That's so ridiculously easy to do. If you Google it, you'll find pages and pages where it shows you just how to do it. You don't even really need it. Really, just get to the correct link, which you can also find just by Googling it. There's really nothing to it, right, Scott? Setting up a business account?
No, it's not at all. It's very, very straightforward. It's well, you set up a business page based off of your personal account, your personal profile. So you'll set up, if you've already got a Gmail address, you've got a Google account. If you got a Google account, you can then sign up for Google Plus. Once you got Google Plus, you can then go and get create a page. You can create a page, a local page for a local business. To create a page for a local business, just go to Pages here. It's a tab. You're going to find your Pages tab either along here or under the More. And then when you're here, you just click on Create New Page. And the old school, until last week, you would go and create a company institute, and you would choose category local business. You can still choose company here, and this. If I create this page here, this is going to be what's called a local Google Plus page. But those are dissipating. They're now called Google Plus local pages. That would be creating this page right here. I would put in a particular phone number. For any business, and it will pull up a particular business with that phone number. And if that's your business, then you can choose it and move forward from there. So if that's the business, you can then update the information. Nothing on Google Plus pages today, if you notice, I can set this up, nothing is verified. So there's no trust signed to any of this. To get this stuff ranked in Google's algorithm is not going to happen until you get that verification process. That's why you still want everything verified and managed through Places today. You get them tied through Google, and over the next month, 6 months, year, Google will be doing it on their end as well. We may run into some challenges with verification and having to re-verify once it's done, because that looks like a lot of data that Google's managing. Okay.
Okay, here's another. Do I need to have a personal account first?
Yes.
Okay. For clients, what's the best way to determine which owner's Google account to use to attach to the Places account? For example, 2 owners own a company, only one can attach the Google Plus page. Or once managers are assigned, are they equally in control?
Yes, they're equally in control once managers are assigned. There's no management layers at this point. There likely will be management layers in the future.
Perfect. That's great.
Okay.
Okay, what have you seen happening with people who are changing their Places listings too much right now?
It comes down to trust. And over the last couple of years, we've seen Google really try hard to build trust in all of their authority of their listings without having any human involvement. And we've seen trends that Google has been doing. The most recent trend is in the last 6 weeks. It's been reported that Google is actually calling local businesses, and they're calling local businesses that are typically service area businesses, what they call them, but they've marked that they can service their customers on location. So let's say a plumber that has their home address, and they'll call that plumber up and they'll say, "Hey, Mr. Plumber, can you accept customers at your location?" And if he says no, then, and his listing says, yeah, he got closed down on Google. And so we don't know at all. I've never seen any reports to what degree Google is making these phone calls, but we've heard it come from multiple states and multiple industries, that Google is actually making the initiative. I mean, Google does not put people behind their company, and when they do on the phone to do stuff, it's a big deal. Um, so the fact that Google's have to bring in human editors created a backlog of verification, and the backlog has gotten as long as 6 weeks in the past, where you would make a change and a human actually has to go and verify that change and before it gets approved. On average, you're looking at a couple of weeks. But there's no rhyme or reason that why one account takes 2 weeks and another one would be 6 weeks. They're obviously filtering these through for different reasons. I don't know why. I just know that the timeline can take as long as 6 weeks. So you got to be careful. And then, as well as that, when they've made changes in the past, like similar to this, that time frame grew significantly. So they may not be implementing changes right now. It may go into a queue, and then you'll lose trust while it's in a queue. And then once it gets out of the queue, it could take it longer to get done. That's why we don't recommend that, and that's possibly what can happen to you if you're making a lot of changes on your places listing right now.
All right, got it. Okay, so we're about out of time today. Scott, thanks so much for coming in and explaining this to us. It makes definitely more sense now. Everybody on the call, thank you for being here as well. We'll edit this in the portal so you'll be able to revisit it if you need to. Scott, what's the way that people can contact you if they have more questions?
We have some training material that they can go to localmarketingsource.com, and we've got some free material that they may be interested in, and they can also email me at scottg@localmarketingsource.com. That's a direct email to me.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Thanks for sharing it. Okay, Scott. Well, again, thank you for your time. We really appreciate you being here today.
Thanks so much, Andrea.
All right. You bet. Have a great day, everyone.